Well, Sunday I decided to fire up the pellet smoker and do my first smoke on it. Before we get started, we're going to fire it up here. We're going to set it at around 230, 235. We're doing pork steaks, some scalloped potatoes, and some baked beans. So here we're doing the barbecue baked beans. I went with 3 of the large cans, probably could have did 2, but we went ahead and did 3 cans in the aluminum pan. I've got a half a pound of bacon there that I fried up in the pan, but I wanted to make sure not to get too crispy. We got some grilled onions and some dark brown sugar. And I went with this St. Louis style Super Smokers barbecue sauce. It was okay, to be honest with you. I was looking for more of a sweet, and it was a little spicy, but it still turned out okay. Did a little salt, pepper, garlic powder. Now we're going to hit it with some yellow mustard. And we got a little bit of some pickled jalapenos to add a little kick to it. And then we got my secret ingredient. It really isn't too much of a secret. You guys probably know what it is, but I figured I'll leave you hanging here. So once you get all that stuff in there, go ahead and get it good and mixed up. And then pretty much it's ready to go on the smoker. But we're going to get started on our scalloped potatoes here. This is my first time making scalloped potatoes. We're going in with about 3 tablespoons of butter. And then we're going to make our roux and add about a 1/4 cup of flour. I like to go ahead and add some seasoning, some salt, pepper, some garlic powder. Really, I should have did that to the butter before I added the flour, but that's okay. Some smoked paprika. We want to get this cooked down pretty good for a couple of minutes. And then we have 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. And here you need to go in with a whisk, and you need to make sure you whisk it and mix it really, really well. You don't want any clumps or anything. And if you don't do this for a good amount of time, it's going to end up being a little gritty. So we got that good and mixed up. I added some Dijon mustard. And then we're going to add some more seasonings here, the salt, the pepper, some garlic powder, the smoked paprika. Get that good and mixed up. And now we're going to add a little bit of this chicken broth here because we want to thin it up a little bit. It was getting a little too thick. And so just kind of get it to where you got the right consistency, because we're going to add in some shredded cheese here. I did a pound of Colby Jack, a half pound of mild cheddar, and a half pound of pepper jack. Make sure you use that from the block. You want to shred it because it melts a lot better. So I did about half the amount of cheese, maybe a little bit less than half the amount of cheese. And we're just making a really nice cheese sauce here. And this is kind of the same way if you saw my video on macaroni and cheese, the cheese sauce I use for that. Get your aluminum pan laid out here. Potatoes, I had about 4, maybe it was 5 small potatoes. And I used a mandolin slicer. I sliced them super thin. So the first layer here, we're just going to get it laid down the bottom. Some salt, some pepper, some garlic powder, some Dano's original seasoning. And then we're going to do a little bit of onion. Probably should have grilled this, but I wanted to see how it turned out if I didn't grill the onions. And then we're going to put our cheese sauce over the top. Once we get that all layered up, you're going to layer it with some of your shredded cheese mixture, and then you're just going to repeat the process. So here we got the potatoes, seasoning, cheese sauce, a little bit of that onion, and then the shredded cheese again. And if you have any more potatoes, just make another layer. But ideally, this is going to want to go on a smoker for probably 4 hours or more at 230. Higher temperature, you can do less time. But honestly, I should have did it for about 4 hours, and I only did it for about 3. Potatoes were still a little hard, and it could have been a lot more soft, but it still turned out pretty decent. Once you get all the cheese on there, I added some of that extra bacon that I had. Again, I did not cook it all the way because it's going to crisp up a little bit in the smoker, so you don't want to make sure you put your bacon on there when it's already crisped up. We got it with some pepper, so now here we go. Smoker's ready to go. Put it on the top tray first, and then I end up moving them down a little bit later. Then we got our pork steaks here. I really like the tri-levels on the smoker. It's the Pit Boss Odessa. I got it at Walmart. Those shelves, they slide out super nice and they don't fall down or anything. And then you can just scoot them right in when you're done. Super nice. But we're going to let these go on here until they reach a temperature, internal temperature of 145. This is about an hour. So I decided to go ahead and give them a flip. Whatever was on the middle row, I moved down to the bottom row and vice versa and gave them a flip. There's my boy Jacob out cutting the grass like a good boy. I got to watch him do that while I sat and Waited for the food to get done. There you go. Baked beans, potatoes are done. That's how the steak turned out. Really nice color on the pork steaks. Nice and red, pink smoke ring all around. Pork steaks were awesome. Give it a try, guys, but plenty more to come from this smoker. Really looking forward to using it this summer. Thanks for watching. Give me a like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys next time.